Today on Around Kansas, Deb discusses the loss of Dawn Wells, who you may know as Mary Ann. We start off talking about how to keep our native birds happy and healthy this winter. Next, it's a look at the Black Label Candle Company. Ron Wilson is back with another poem, and we finish with a visit to the Osa and Martin Johnson Museum.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Good morning. Welcome to Around Kansas. I'm Deb Goodrich. I hope your January is treating you well and that so far 2020 looks promising and hopefully a whole lot kinder than 2020 was. There have been so many losses, of course, in 2020 that it's just staggering. And personally, and then on a grander scale with the loss of several celebrities that were near and dear to many of us. One that I have to mention, though, is Dawn Wells. And Dawn died of COVID just before the year ended. And she, of course, portrayed Mary Ann, the girl next door, on Gilligan's Island. And on that TV show that lives in perpetuity with reruns, I don't know if there's anybody on the planet. You know, you'd have to be in a remote corner of the planet not to be familiar with the castaways on Gilligan's Island. And, of course, her hometown on the show was Winfield, Kansas. So Winfield has always had a sweet spot for Mary Ann. And in reality, Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann, was from just across the border in Marshall, Missouri. So still really close to home for a lot of us Kansans. And her passing touched a lot of folks, and none more than our friend Michael Dante. And Michael and Mary Ann starred together in Winterhawk, a wonderful Western for those, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it, recall having seen it. And, you know, her talent went far beyond Gilligan's Island, and we appreciate Michael's sharing on Facebook some of his thoughts about their time working together on the film. Michael, as you recall, we interviewed, gosh, it's been a few years ago now, hasn't it? When he was at Westfest in Dodge City, we had a wonderful sit down with Michael. It's just, I have to say, it's one of the interviews I enjoyed doing most ever. He's such a proud American, such a fine person, such a fine actor. He and his lovely wife are such gracious people. And I hope that you follow him on Facebook and keep up with a lot of the positive things that he shares. And we have kept up with him since that interview, and just so nice to check in with him from time to time. And he has fond memories of being in Kansas too. So, you know, it's funny. I'll be watching TV and there will be Michael on Bonanza or Perry Mason or something, and it's just like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. So yeah, shout out to our friend Michael Dante. And don't forget to share with us what's going on in your world. There are so many plans for 2021, things that have been put off in 2020, so we hope that we can get together a little more often, that we can get back to some sort of normal. So let us know what's going on in your world, and we'll share it here. Of course, we've got the 200th of the Santa Fe Trail this year, so that is a big one on my plate. And in areas or little communities throughout the state of Kansas, lots going on with the 200th Santa Fe Trail. So be sure and check us out on Facebook and our website, santafetrail.org. Stay with us. Got a lot going on today.
Howdy, I'm Seth Hayes, and welcome to my hometown, from then to now. Council Grove has a rich history as deep as the prairie tall grass. Spend the day visiting 25 historic sites or explore the unique shops and restaurants, or mosey out of town along the Santa Fe Trail. You all visit my hometown, Council Grove, in the heart of the Flint Hills.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
One of the joys of wintertime and summertime and springtime and fall time is bird watching. And in the winter, just like our livestock and just like us, the birds may need a little help. And if you enjoy watching the birds as much as I do, then you'll find these tips from the Audubon Society and from the Bird Watchers magazine, I think. You'll find these tips very helpful on how to feed the birds most effectively to keep them healthy and coming back to your feeders. Winter can take its toll on us all, including our fine feathered friends. We can do our part to help birds survive the bleak frozen months by offering just the right foods. To figure out exactly what these foods are, we turn to the Audubon Society. Number 10, black oil sunflower seed. Nearly every bird that stops by your feeder will eat it because its thin shell is easy to crack. Peanuts. Woodpeckers, jays, nuthatches, chickadees, and titmice will readily visit a feeder for this high-protein, high-energy food. Even cardinals and finches will eat peanuts. Be sure they're deshelled, dry roasted, and unsalted. 8. Suet. You'll likely be able to find this high-fat food at your supermarket. Ask the butcher if you don't spot it on display, or make your own suet feeder with a mesh bag. 7. Good mixed seed. There is such a thing as bad mixed seed. Avoid the junk seeds that most birds won't eat, like dyed seed meant for pet birds, wheat, and some forms of red milo that only birds in the desert southwest seem to eat. Good mixed seed has a large amount of sunflower seed, cracked corn, white proso millet, and perhaps some peanut hearts. Number 6, thistle seed. Although it can be expensive, thistle seed is eagerly consumed by all the small finches, goldfinches, house purple, and Cassin's finches, pine siskins, and redpolls. You need to feed thistle in a thistle feeder, though, of some kind. Safflower. You can fill any sunflower seed feeder with safflower, which many birds will eat. Cracked corn. Sparrows, blackbirds, jays, doves, and quail are just a few of the creatures you can expect at your feeders if you feed cracked corn, but the squirrels love it too. Mealworms. Most feeder birds will gobble them up, except goldfinches. Fruit. Grapes, sliced citrus, apple, or banana are a special treat that will draw many birds. Homemade bird treats are number 1. Bird Watchers Digest says you can come up with your own recipes for winter bird treats. Smear peanut butter on a tree trunk and poke some peanut bits into it. Melt suet in your microwave and pour it into an ice cube tray to harden. Before it solidifies, add peanut bits, raisins, apple bits, or other bird foods. Put the tray in your freezer to harden. Once it does, you've got cubed bird treats. Easy to make, easy to use. Now sit back with your coffee and watch your friends enjoying their winter banquet. Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
This segment brought to you by Bob Schwartz Financial. Values, commitment, transparency.
Thanks for joining us on the program today. Our guest is Tiffany Nutter-Trejo. She's the owner and operator of Black Label Candle Company in Wichita. And we've been talking about the process of setting up your business, but I want to know a little more about, walk me through how you make your candles, what the process looks like on a production day.
So currently I actually make my candles in basically my kitchen area and what I call our fireplace room, but it's just a room that has like a lot of space in it. And I have a big wax melter, so typically when I start the day, so actually my production days are Wednesdays, and I will start the day by just gathering all my supplies. Now I have my wicks, my containers, get my wax ready that I know I'm going to start melting. Just pull out everything so that way I have it all in one area, because I pretty much keep everything in separate areas at this point because I do make them out of my house. So I always start by getting my materials out, and then I start by melting my wax. So I have a wax melter that holds, I think, 10 pounds of wax, which sounds like a lot, but in candle making it's really not that much wax. I can go through it pretty fast. And so I just get my wax melting, and then from there I set up my tins, and if I'm wicking my jars, so I actually put my jars in the oven, which it sounds silly, but with the glass jars, and I use soy wax. Soy wax will, well, probably any wax, but soy is really known to do this. It will start to pull away from the sides of the jar if the jar is not a warmer temperature, like closer to what the wax is, because I pour at about 150 degrees. So if the jar, is sitting only at whatever your house is, 70 degrees, and then the wax is 150, it can affect how the jar will look, even though it won't affect how it burns or anything. So I always heat up my jars in the oven first, just so I can get them up to a higher temperature so they're closer to what the wax is. So that's kind of fun to do as I'm baking my jars. And then, depending on what scents I'm making for the day, I get my fragrance oils ready. Some are mixed already, like I've already mixed them and I just have them ready to go in containers to pour, and some I hand mix the day of depending on what scent it is, if I'm doing a custom scent or if I'm doing any testing, because I always do vigorous testing for all the scents I'm going to bring out in the future. So I get all that ready and start mixing scents when the wax is ready, and then I just basically do a bunch of pouring. Because once the wax is all melted in the wax melter, I can pour candles pretty fast because it's just ready to go, and it has a spigot, so I can just open it up, pour, and close it, which is really nice now.
Did Black Label Candle Company start out with significant signature scents, and have you retained those or added more to them? And do you launch other scents throughout the year?
4 scents originally, which was lavender, eucalyptus mint, citrus mango, and what was the other one? Dark amber, which dark amber is our best seller. So right now I have 9 scents currently, and they kind of rotate through the year. I do seasonal launches. I launch about 2 to 3 scents per season.
Thanks for joining us today. That was our guest, Tiffany Nutter-Trejo. She is the owner and operator of Black Label Candle Company in Wichita, Kansas.
I'm Bob Schwartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Schwartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Schwartz Financial, values, commitment, and transparency.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family. That's
Fences are something we take for granted in these days. As you drive down the Kansas countryside, there are fences all over. But it's interesting to learn that the very first fences which were built in this country were built not to keep cattle in as they are today. They were built to fence cattle out because homesteaders were starting to plant crops in an era of open range. This poem that I wrote is called Both Sides of the Fence. Good fences make good neighbors, in Robert Frost I read, and that old-time poet was right in what he said. For you'll keep your neighbors happy, and life will be a song if the fence keeps the critters on the side where they belong. A good tight 5-wire fence is a pretty thing to see, but my old fence always needs fixin', which is a pain to me. I hate a fence which won't keep my livestock inside, and those fences get in the way when we're out on a trail ride. But there will always be fences, so I'm resigned to my fate. I just have one request. Would somebody open the gate? Happy trails.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Some of the most remarkable people are found in some of our most remarkable places. That's how it is in Chanute at the Osa and Martin Johnson Museum that is directed by our good friend Jackie Zimmer and her husband Lloyd. Many of you remember from running a bookstore in Topeka for many years, which was just a dangerous place for me to walk into, and many of my friends as well. He sells online now, so you can check Lloyd out. And be sure and get by the museum when you can and tell Jackie that Deb sent you. The Johnsons are just two of the most remarkable Kansans ever, and their story just bears repeating every now and then. In the first half of the 20th century, an American couple, Martin and Osa Johnson, captured the public's imagination through their films and books of adventure and exotic, faraway lands. Photographers, explorers, marketers, naturalists, and authors, Martin and Osa studied the wildlife and peoples of East and Central Africa, the South Pacific Islands, and British North Borneo. They explored then unknown lands and brought back film footage and photographs, offering many Americans their first understanding of these distant lands. Osa Lady was born and raised in Chanute. Martin grew up in Lincoln and Independence. Martin took part as a crew member and cook in Jack London's 1907 to 09 voyage across the Pacific aboard the Snark. After that, he started a traveling road show that toured the United States, displaying photographs and artifacts collected on the voyage. He met Osa Lady while passing through her hometown. Osa later penned a bestseller, I Married Adventure, which sums up the colorful couple's life. Television's first wildlife series, Osa Johnson's The Big Game Hunt, premiered in 1953. The Walt Disney Company was the first organization to license Johnson Film for the program Filming Nature's Mysteries. Disney again licensed Johnson Film as a part of Rafiki's Planet Watch at Disney's Animal Kingdom. The architects and Disney team developing a new safari lodge borrowed Johnson films from the museum in 1997 and 98 for research and inspiration. Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge opened in April of 2001 and included is an ongoing exhibit of 36 Johnson photographs. Martin and Osa were the namesake, inspiration, and background story for the Martin and Osa clothing line and national chain of 28 Martin and Osa stores launched by American Eagle Outfitters. The Safari Museum was formed in 1961 to preserve the Johnsons' achievements and to encourage further research into their fields of study. The museum started with a core collection of the Johnsons' films, photographs, manuscripts, articles, books, and personal belongings donated by Osa's mother, but it has grown and flourished since then. The museum shares the beautiful old railroad depot with the Chinook Public Library. In 1998, the Martin and Osa Johnson Safari Museum was named by the History Channel Traveler website as one of the top 10 historic sites for Valentine's Day that capture romance American style. Thanks for being part of my day. I'm Deb Goodrich, and I'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.